Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to share a quick pain tip today. Whenever I start working with someone in chronic pain, usually their focus is in a place that isn't really helpful to them. And I think this is true of so many people in our world today, that we put so much emphasis on the physical sensation of what we're going through, the physical aspect of our suffering, that we don't take time to really think about the root, underlying cause of what's going on. And I know this is maybe even something's cliche to talk about because it's what everybody seems to be exploring nowadays. But I think it's really important to sort of get into talking about what can actually help people with the underlying issue. And it's hard to know exactly what that is for everyone, but I'll share one thing that I've found is very helpful for me personally, and also very helpful for the clients that I work with when they sort of crack the code on this whole thing. So the topic of today's video is single-pointed focus. And I think about the world that we live in now and the clientele that we work with. And the number one theme that really comes up is that our focus is so fragmented on a day-to-day basis. Fragmenting meaning that we are focused on so many things at once that we really don't have the ability to concentrate on one thing. We're over agitated through our fragmentation. So let me give you an example of this. On a day-to-day basis, the average person, gets up, looks at their phone first thing, maybe has emails that they've seen that have come in, or texts from people, or they get on social media and they start scrolling, and there's just tremendous amounts of information. So that's one example of where our energy gets fragmented into one space. Then we get up, right? And we might turn on a podcast, or we might turn on the radio, or might turn on the TV, watch the news. Again, another opportunity for our concentration to be fragmented. An example of someone who lives in chronic pain, right? They've been up all night, so their energy has been put into trying to sleep and thinking about sleeping and not being able to actually sleep. They get up and their focus is on, how do I get my pain under control for the day? How do I actually have a productive day? I'm so flared up. So they take a medication, or they do something like that. There's all these responsibilities they need done around the house. And so they start working on different projects and realize that, I'm in too much pain to do this today. And so they start worrying about, how am I going to actually get this project done? On top of that, they're dealing with financial issues because they're unable to work because of chronic pain. And on top of that, they're dealing with workers' comp and all the complications of their benefits and things that are either approved or not approved. So there's so many, I could go on and on about this. There's all sorts of things that our clients are struggling with on a day-to-day basis that really takes their energy and puts it in these different areas, right? And so it's all fragmented. There's no way for them to focus on one thing. And so something that I try to introduce to people right away is this idea of developing your ability to focus on one thing at a time. And I know this is strange for us in this modern day. We're really taught that it's great for us to be able to multitask and do 1,000 things at once. And I'm telling you that is not the way. That is not the best way to achieve health of body and mind. So I'll talk a little bit about different exercises that we can do to increase our ability to focus on one thing at a time. But first, I want to sort of talk about the outcome of this. What happens when we're able to focus on one thing at a time? Agitation happens when we're overwhelmed. And I had a beautiful example that I saw in the store the other day. I was at the grocery store, and I saw someone who should have had just really fragmented attention. So this was a woman who was with her children, I'm assuming. She had 6 kids with her. And they were all kind of hanging on the cart and walking down the aisle with her, all different ages. And I saw her and I thought, wow, are there 6 kids there? I kind of had to do a double take to see how many kids were actually with her. She had 6 children with her. And it was serene. The whole, usually when you see 6 kids and a mom, the mom is stressed out and the kids are just running wild, running laps around the mom. And there's tons of agitation going on. And it was beautiful because this woman it was a serene environment. She was completely calm. her kids were also completely calm, and they weren't all talking at the same time. They were all listening to each other. And I heard one of the kids, say something, ask mom a question. Mom answered the question, and then another kid, one of the siblings, I'm assuming, answered, kind of started communicating with the other kid and gave her some thoughts on what was going on. So it was just a very unusual thing to see. This mother of 6 children was completely, in a state of bliss and calm. And I thought about that a little bit. It's a great example of, the individual human being as well. That, sometimes when our life is really busy, we get fragmented and we stop listening. We start doing instead of listening. And there's something about just zeroing in on one thing at a time that trains the mind to just be at peace, to be calm, to be, in a state of serenity. So I think it's something we need to practice more, and that's why I'm bringing it up in this video. So let me just share one thing that you can do to sort of, bring this state of calm and bliss into your life. So it's not a secret. It's something people have been doing for thousands of years through meditation, through prayer. But one way of doing this is to just pick one object in your room. It can be a painting. Sometimes I'll put my attention on this painting up here. This was a painting that one of my clients actually painted for me and gifted to me when he was done with the program. Really one of my most treasured possessions. Very cool. But that's my happy place. So if I put my attention on that for just a little bit and just sit with it, right? Observe it. Don't think about it, but just observe it. And the mind will start to wander. Just bring it back to whatever that object is in your room. You can pick anything. I mean, it can be a nail on the wall. It can be a plant. It can be a rock. It can be anything. But just put your attention on that item and try to hold it there. And I know this is contrary to what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be productive and do things. It feels like we're doing nothing. But realize we're really training our brain when we say, it's okay, brain, just to focus on this one little thing. So there's many ways to do this. You can use a mantra. You can use attention on your breathing. You can use an object in the room, like I just described. But just take, I encourage you just to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just put attention on that one little thing. And you'll be amazed at how your mind everything just kind of calms down. Everything slows down. So that's the pain tip. I know it's not really earth-shattering or anything that's overly complicated. It's very simple. But learning to just spend a little bit of your day focusing on just one thing, I think can be incredibly helpful to people. And it actually helps with the physical sensations in the body that people experience. So, if we start by trying to put the attention on how do we improve the physical sensation, that will actually a lot of times make things worse because that's where the attention is. And if things aren't changing there, we start to get agitated. But for a client, usually just teaching them this one trick for neuroplasticity of single pointed attention, where the mind goes, the body will follow. So just a tip to keep in mind that whenever someone is struggling with chronic pain, this is something that can really help them sort of calm things down and come back to center. So hope you enjoyed this tip. I'll be trying to put a few more of these out in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for those, and thanks for watching.